I didn't show it up at the beginning of this video, but here's my lard, salt, and flour. 6 cups of flour, 1 cup of lard, and 2 teaspoons of salt. And right now I'm going to mix that all up until it's very grainy. This is the first time that I'm making homemade tortillas, so I was trying my best. Here's where it's getting kind of sandy, and I needed 2 hands. Here's where I'm adding 1 cup of warm water. It was told to put a little at a time and warm enough to where you could still touch it with your hand, and you're going to incorporate it into the flour a little at a time. I was making sure I could touch it with my fingers, the warm water. It does get a little messy. Here's where I'm adding a little bit more water because you don't want it dry. So after you've added all the water into the flour mixture, it's going to be really sticky. And what you're going to do is move it to a clean surface and knead it for about 10 minutes or so, or until that it no longer sticks to your hands or the surface. It might feel like you need to add flour to it, but you don't. Just keep kneading it until it becomes smooth. And here's what you want your dough to look like: flat, not sticking to my hands or the surface. And then I'm going to start pinching off a little of the dough and making, oh, there's my daughter. And I'm going to be making about 1 to 2 inch dough balls. I will say I think I made a mistake here and kept rolling them a little too hard, and it made my tortillas a little too thick and chewy like, so you probably don't need to do it as tight as I did. So I just put them in a clean bowl with a damp paper towel over them so they don't dry out. And here I was very proud of myself that I was left with 2 even dough balls. You'll want to set these aside and let them rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you want to flour your surface and your rolling pin. This is where I made another mistake. I over-floured here. You don't need to use that much flour. I then grabbed one of my flour balls, my tortilla balls, and I flattened it out into about a 3-inch circle. I floured it on both sides, following the directions of the salty cocina, except I'm using way too much flour. I'm rolling it out, trying to get it as flat as possible. I believe I'm trying to make a 10-inch round, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Also, while I'm editing, the video is kind of glitching, so if it's doing that for you, I apologize. Keep flipping the tortilla over because you want it as flat and even as possible on all sides. Notice how I didn't need all that flour. This is going to be a problem. Make sure you have it as flat as possible. Then you're going to move it over to your griddle or whatever pan you're using to heat up the tortilla. I probably shouldn't have used my griddle, but I did, and this is where we are. Notice how all that flour is already burning. What a mistake. What you want to see is the bubbles coming up on the tortilla. You only want to do this for a couple of minutes, and then you want to flip it over and do the same on the other side. Watch the mistakes I made. Learn from me. This is all really needed. the more that I made the tortillas, the harder they were becoming and were not passing the crumble test. And you'll see that here in a moment. So all you really need to do is do it for a couple of minutes on each side and put it in a bag or in a tortilla warmer. Here's all the tortillas that I made, and here's the crumble test I was talking about. You want to be able to fold the tortilla up as much as possible without it crunching. And there you go. I think I did pretty good for my first time.